Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the special meeting of the Peabody School Committee to order. Today is our public hearing on our school budget. We have our full school committee here today, as well as our superintendent, Dr. Josh Vidala, assistant superintendent, Dr. Chris Lord, and our business manager, Joe Scanlon, are with us as well. We are being televised by Peabody Access TV as always, and also we have real-time public participation. Can be addressed in the usual manner. Please, anybody that would like to be heard on the budget, please just raise your hand and we will bring you into the discussion. I'd like to start the meeting if we all could just please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. And we are starting the meeting today at 6:12, and today is, of course, June 8th, 2021. And Dr. Vidala, why don't I turn it over to you? I know you have a presentation to give on the budget.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This has been a very comprehensive budget process. So I'd like to just kind of go through quickly and review sort of how we got here and provide the public with an opportunity to understand how we landed on this budget and what's included in it. And I think it's nice to begin with a little bit of context. So I took this slide from last year's fiscal year 21 budget presentation. And if you remember, all the way back in January 2020, we were very excited about the Student Opportunity Act. And around March, beginning of March, we were proposing as a district a budget around $85 million. And people were very excited about that. And they were looking back at that as an increase from the FY20 budget, which was voted on in June of 2019, which was around $77 million. And you know, when COVID came in and we saw the loss of revenue and there was a budget shortfall, the group set 3 budget targets. So a level service budget would have been $81 million, a level funded budget would have been $77 million, and then the custodians were moved over to the city side, which then reduced the school budget to $74.8 million, which is what was voted on last June. So during this budget process, we did a recap of the FY21 budget, where there was reductions of almost 90 positions. And we looked at the funding sources from Chapter 70, the municipal contribution, and the additional funds that we see from the city, which resulted in the $74.8 million budget that was voted last year. We were fortunate enough to receive federal stimulus money through the Elementary and Secondary Schools Emergency Relief Act, or ESSER 1, and we were able to bring back kindergarten paras, teacher fellows, library tutors, technology staff, supplies and materials, and do professional development. So all in all, we received $819,000, which added to our $74.8 appropriated budget, and last year, or this fiscal year, it cost us $75.6 million to run the district. So that's where we began, and then as we started to build this budget, we focused on return and recovery. And so we know that we've had a lot of things to celebrate this year, and it was also a challenge. And we know that there's going to be some learning loss, some mental health needs, and we've been really talking about this all year, and we want to make sure that we address the holistic needs of our students, including extracurriculars, athletics, and making sure that we have enough teachers and interventionists to provide academic interventions as well as mental health interventions through school adjustment counselors and social workers. And so as we look at that learning loss and mental health, we put that at the forefront and we consider hope. We want to have high expectations for every student every day, maintain that level of optimism, find ways to personalize the learning for every student every day, and really keep equity on the forefront. So we went through these 4 steps as we decided to build this budget and really worked creatively with the school committee and the central office staff, the principals and the department heads. And we wanted to really develop that budget again to address the holistic needs of students as we return to a full in-person model in the fall. And so step 2 was to identify the funding sources as we developed the budget to make sure that all of the positions and the supplies were covered. Step 3 was to work collaboratively to create the appropriated budget, which will be presented tonight, for the school committee and the city council to vote on. And then step 4, which was very important, was to communicate the other funding sources that prevent reductions and or cuts to this budget. And so we did that first by sending a message out to the staff and really understanding that this budget is not one that is looking to cut people. It's looking to add and truly address the needs of our students and our staff as we return to full in-person budget. So, to full in-person learning. So again, this proposed budget, we began with looking at a level service budget, which included step and lane increases, maintaining all the staffing levels that we currently have, maintaining all the ordinary budgets across the board, and then updating health insurance and out-of-district tuitions to make sure that they are funded appropriately. That number was about $78,795,331. That did not include those positions that I mentioned on the previous slide that were in ESSER 1. So we proposed, again, to increase our staff and to bring back strategically the positions that we think will have the most influence on our students and our staff to help support them as they meet the needs of our students. So at the high school, we were looking to add 2 special ed teachers, an English teacher and a math teacher, 4 positions at the Higgins, including a special ed teacher, an ELL teacher, a reading teacher, and then a general instruction teacher. We're also looking at 3 elementary special education teachers across the district and 1 general ed teacher for enrollment increases, 3 school adjustment counselors and 3 school psychologists to address the mental health needs of our students, an educational stability liaison, which we currently have. However, it's a half-time position, so we're looking to move that into the attendance office, provide that as a full-time, which will then allow us an additional half-time school adjustment counselor. So again, that person would be full-time. We're looking at adding 2 ELL teachers, a building access attendant, and the director of early childhood, and as well as all of the positions in ESSER 1, which were the kindergarten paras, the library tutors, and so all of those positions coming back into the budget, which landed us at a total budget of 80.6, or $80,653,444. And so when we looked at our funding sources, we identified that this year we're receiving $23 million from Chapter 70, $50,926,003 as the minimum contribution, and the additional $2,614,801 from the city lands us on a budget that is $76,644,086. That is the proposed budget that we are asking to vote on tonight. And so we have a working budget document that is posted on our website that provides that detailed information. And we have identified an additional allocation from ESSER 2 and other grants that make up the difference of the $4,009,359. So again, the actual cost to run the district is just over $80 million. The appropriated amounts that we're asking the city and tonight for the school committee to vote on is $76,644,086. So we have some motions that we will ask the school committee to do after we open it up to if there's any comment from the committee or if there's public participation. These will be the motions. I'll put this back up, but I'll pause now. And if we want to bring in either comments from the committee or if we want to have public comment.
All right, thank you, Dr. Vidala. Before we go to public comment, are there any questions or comments that the school committee wanted to make at this time? Okay, seeing none at this time, why don't we open it up? Dr. Vidala, anybody looking to speak or comment?
So currently our attendees are Dr. Lord and Leanna Harris. So I think those are our only attendees right now. I don't believe they have any comments. I don't know if Ms. Mayo has any comments. But
okay. You sure Leanna doesn't want to comment? Give us something. School committee, any comments or questions at this point? All right, entertain a motion then. I'm sorry, Mrs. Dunn, what was that? Oh. we'll, yep. Okay, so there's no comments or questions. I guess we can move forward to motions. Mrs. Carpenter, I'll turn it over to you.
Second.
Okay, you've heard the motion by Mrs. Carpenter for approval, seconded by Mr. Olympio. Any comments? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll turn it back to you, Mrs. Carpenter, or is your microphone? Mr. Olympio, would you?
I think I'm on.
Great, we'll turn it back to you, Mrs. Carpenter.
Great. I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposed non-salary line item in the FY22 budget in the amount of $25,447,456.00.
Second.
Okay, you've heard the motion by Mrs. Carpenter, seconded by Mr. Olympio. Any questions? Seeing none at this time, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hockman?
Yes.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Ms. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Griffin Dunn?
Yes.
And Mr. Onotis?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposed total FY22 budget in the amount of $76,644,086.00.
Second.
Thank you. You've heard the motion by Mrs. Carpenter to approve the total fiscal year 22 school budget, seconded by Mr. Olympio. Any questions? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hockman?
Yes.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Ms. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Griffin Dunn?
Yes.
And Mr. Onotis?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And we have had discussions with the city council. We are scheduled next week. There are budget meetings scheduled for Tuesday the 15th, which would just be the school side, the city side. The city departments will be reviewed. We're scheduled on the school side for Thursday, June 17th, so a week from Thursday. We're scheduled, I believe it's 6:30 we'll be beginning, but we'll be getting information out to everybody. But 17th, we're on over at the Wigan Auditorium at Peabody City Hall. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, until then, are we adjourning, or do we continue the budget hearing? I think we continue until we have a final vote from the city council. Ms. Griffin Dunn? Yep. Motion to adjourn.
Heard the motion to adjourn from Mr. Hockman, seconded by Mr. Amico. All in favor? Thank you very much. We have our regular meeting start at 7 p.m.